Futari wa PreCure Splash Star is the first time the protagonists have changed in the PreCure franchise. And I think that this is the point it becomes a franchise rather than a series. We have another set of characters. We have another 47, 48 episodes with these characters rather than with our previous two cures. Rather than adding to the cast like the transition between Futariwa and Max Hart, where they added one character, two new ones. That's fine. It's an interesting way to go about it. I don't know if they committed to that, though. The show goes to great lengths, kind of off the rip, to establish Mai and Saki as different in personality and skill set from our previous cures, despite their similarities, especially when it comes to design. You put these girls next to each other and tell somebody that they're different characters, they would not believe you unless you pointed out the differences between them and were like, yeah, no, these are from different seasons, they're from different series almost within the same franchise. They are not the same. But I don't think they wanted to commit to having different characters fully, because there are quite a few obvious similarities between them in terms of personality, of Mai and Honoka being the more studious ones, and Saki and Nagisa being the more outgoing and sporty ones. Despite the drawback that kind of comes with this, Mai and Saki feel more well-rounded characters earlier on because of the greater focus this season tends to put on their characters. I think even in the earlier episodes, it does a lot to, as it is establishing their characters, build on them a little bit more than the first two seasons did throughout a lot of it, much to Splash Star's benefit. Episodes tended to have a longer time overall spent in the normal day-to-day lives of the main and supporting cast, building their stories before we encounter the antagonists in the later part of the episode. As a result, fights are shorter and move towards the climax quicker for the bulk of the show. Magic is also used from the get-go rather than just as a finishing move, as the series better figures out how it wants the characters' power sets to operate. I do miss the more melee-oriented combat, but filling out their power sets is nice too. They have more beams to them, I guess, and get to use defensive barriers rather than just getting punched in the face by whatever sort of object is around them that gets possessed by a Zakena. The monsters also change between seasons, which I think is a little funny that all of the first couple of seasons are, or I guess every season, are like, oh, this monster is a scary one, so its name is Kawaii. This one's loud and obnoxious, so it's an Urusaina, and all of that fun stuff. It's silly and good. This is also the first season where the characters get entirely new forms, rather than just a one-off power-up kind of at the end or for the movie. Cure Bloom and Cure Bright are both Saki, and Cure Egret and Cure Windy are both Mai. That is, until the finale of the show, where, spoilers for what is almost 2 decades old, two of the former antagonists turned not sure what they want to do, turned allies and friends, take up the mantles of Cure Bright and Cure Windy, when all 4 of the girls take on the final antagonist in a dramatic city and, I think, planet devastating showdown. The final fight reaches Dragon Ball Z levels of action, and it was very entertaining to watch. The last couple of episodes of Splash Star stand on their own compared to basically the entire rest of the show in terms of action and maybe even the story being told. The antagonist has achieved his full power. He is trying to get the ultimate power that the protagonists are protecting. Oh, so hard are they trying to protect this power source. And I mean, the villain does almost kind of look like he should be out of a Dragon Ball Z movie, like early Dragon Ball Z. Maybe right after Namek, we get a little bit of Super Saiyan action, but it's really cool seeing what looks like it should be a straight out of a shonen battle against this guy, and they throw punches, and it is a no holds barred fight to the death until they blow up the planet and then have to use the power of hope and friendship or something to bring it back. Splash Star is pretty good. I liked Splash Star. I think it would have been a little bit better if they had done more to make it clearly separated from the first two seasons, but I get that they wouldn't want to just immediately move away from it in case it came as too much of a shock to the fans who are already watching the show and might have been invested in Nagisa and Honoka. It makes it just a nice, easy transition for them. I think that Splash Star sits at about a 7 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair rating for that season.